The bright lights of mission control dimmed as the video feed from deep space appeared on the main screen. Commander Diane Powell took a deep breath. Her ship, the Earth vessel Horizon, had been traveling for 3 months to reach the coordinates sent in the alien message. "Are we ready?" she asked, looking at her crew. Dr. Alan Wright nodded, clutching his tablet. As the ship's xenobiologist, he had waited his whole life for this moment. First contact. The year was 2052, and humanity was about to meet aliens for the first time. "Signal incoming," said Communications Officer Ben Miller. "They're ready to dock." The massive ship that approached them dwarfed the horizon. It gleamed like polished metal under the distant sun. Strange markings covered its hull, and no visible windows could be seen. "Remember the protocol," Commander Powell said. "No sudden movements. Follow my lead." The airlock hissed as it opened. The crew held their breath. Through the door came 3 different alien species, each more strange than the last. The tallest had blue skin and 4 arms. Next to it stood a being covered in fur with large eyes that blinked sideways. The third looked almost like a giant insect walking on 2 legs. "We welcome you to the Galactic Council," said the blue alien in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Israel. We have been watching your world for some time." Commander Powell stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth, we are honored to meet you." The meeting room on the horizon felt too small for these visitors. Dr. Wright couldn't stop staring at them, making notes on his tablet. "Your species is young," said the insect-like alien, "only now leaving your home system. We represent 17 spacefaring civilizations that form the Galactic Council." The furry alien seemed most interested in the humans. "You are softer than expected," it said, moving closer to examine Powell. "No claws, weak teeth, thin skin. Yet you survived on a predator-rich world." Dr. Wright noticed how the aliens kept their distance, as if unsure about the humans. "We invite Earth to join the Council," Ambassador Israel said. "As a protectorate species." "Protectorate?" Powell asked. "Not full members." The aliens exchanged looks. "Full membership is for developed species," the insect alien explained. "Your technology is primitive by Council standards." Later, after the aliens returned to their ship, the human crew gathered to discuss. "They're hiding something," Dr. Wright said. "Did you notice how they washed our hands? How they flinched when Jeff laughed?" Powell nodded. "They're afraid of us." "But why? They have technology centuries beyond ours." On the alien ship, Security Chief Tarthal was having a similar conversation. The reptilian officer paced in front of Ambassador Israel. "These humans are dangerous," Tarthal said. "Their history is filled with violence. They kill their own kind over territory, resources, even ideas." "All young species have violent pasts," Israel replied. "Not like this. Look at their biology. They have no natural weapons, yet they became apex predators on a planet full of stronger animals. They did it with intelligence and tools, but they never lost their predator instincts." Zrel sighed. "That's why we offer protectorate status. We can guide their development, ensure they join galactic society safely." "And if they refuse?" Xarthal asked. "They won't. What could they possibly gain by refusing? Their technology is centuries behind ours. They need us." Back on the horizon, Commander Powell was sending her report to Earth. "They're offering us protection and limited technology," she told the United Earth government over the secure channel. "But I think there's more to this Galactic Council than they're telling us." Dr. Wright entered the room with new findings. "I've analyzed their biology from the scans. Each species is highly specialized. The blue ones evolved in high gravity. The furry ones see in ultraviolet. But humans, we're generalists. We adapt." Powell looked at the alien ship on the screen. "And that scares them." "It should," Wright said quietly, "because it means we can become anything we need to be." On Earth, the news of alien contact spread quickly. Humanity celebrated, not yet understanding their unique place in the galaxy. not yet knowing that in 20 years, the stars would fear them. 13 years passed since Earth's first contact with the Galactic Council. Humans spread across the solar system, building colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. Council technology helped, but always with limits. Earth remained a protectorate, never an equal. Major Frank Carter stared at the message on the screen. He read it 3 times to be sure. "They want us to do what?" he asked. General Olivia Rodriguez smiled. "Compete. The Galactic Council holds what they call the Apex Predator Tournament every 100 years. They never invited Earth before. The year was 2065. Frank looked around the underground military base where Earth's best soldiers trained. "And they're inviting us now? Why?" "To remind us of our place," Rodriguez said. "The Council species think we're weak. This tournament lets them show off their natural weapons, claws, venom, strength. Things humans don't have." Frank stood up. At 6 feet tall with dark hair and eyes, he looked ordinary. Not like an alien with 4 arms or armored skin. "So we're supposed to lose." "We're supposed to participate and be grateful," Rodriguez corrected him. "But I didn't pick you to lose." She handed him a tablet with files on 2 other humans. "Meet your team. Lisa Mendez, survival expert. She lived alone in the Amazon for 3 years studying rare plants. Jack Williams, hunter and tracker. He can follow animals that leave no tracks." Frank studied their faces, just the 3 of us. "Each species sends 3 representatives. That's the rule." Lisa Mendez arrived the next day. Her skin was tanned from years outdoors, her black hair cut short for practicality. She shook Frank's hand with a firm grip. "Major Carter," she said, "I heard we're going to fight aliens." "Compete," Frank corrected. "It's not a war." Lisa smiled. "Tell that to the aliens." Jack Williams joined them hours later. Tall and lean with weathered features, he moved silently even on the base's metal floors. He carried an old hunting knife, and not much else. "What exactly are we competing in?" Jack asked after introductions. General Rodriguez activated a large screen showing strange landscapes. Bubbling mud lakes, frozen mountains, dense alien jungles. The tournament has stages: survival in extreme environments, hunting alien prey, and direct challenges against other teams. "Fighting, you mean?" Lisa said. "Yes. The Drazek have won 7 times in a row. They're reptilian, twice as strong as humans, with natural armor." Frank studied the image of the tall, scaled aliens. "And we're supposed to beat them." "No," Rodriguez admitted. "The Council expects us to be eliminated early. Just getting invited is supposedly an honor." Jack twirled his knife. "They think we're soft." On the main Council world, aliens gathered to watch news about the tournament. The furry Vantar and the 6-limbed Krith laughed as images of the human team appeared. "Look at them," a Vantar said. "No claws, no fangs. Skin you could tear with a finger." A reptilian Drazek sneered. "They rely on tools. Take away their weapons, and they're nothing." In a quiet corner, Security Chief XR Thal watched with different eyes. 13 years older and still cautious about humans. "You're wrong," he said softly to the lacking aliens. "Their weapons aren't what make them dangerous." The Earth team prepared for months. They trained in simulated environments based on Council data. They studied alien anatomy and weaknesses. But most important, they learned about the tournament's true purpose. "It's not just about killing," Dr. Eliza Daniels told them. As the team psychologist, she understood what the others didn't. "It's about proving you're apex predators." "We aren't apex predators," Lisa pointed out. "Not like the aliens." Frank looked at his team. "We are. But not because of strength or natural weapons. Because we never, ever give up." As their ship left Earth orbit, heading for the tournament world of Tartarus, billions of humans watched. For the first time, humanity would show the galaxy what they could do. The council had no idea what was coming. The artificial world of Tartarus loomed ahead as the human team's ship approached. Through the viewport, Frank saw a planet split into sections like a puzzle. Deserts next to ice fields, jungles beside volcanic wastelands. They built this entire world just for the tournament, Lisa said, eyes wide with wonder. The landing area buzzed with activity. 17 different alien species prepared for the challenges ahead. Some looked almost human. Others seemed impossible. Floating crystal beings, 8-legged giants, creatures made of shifting liquid. Ambassador Drell, older now with paler blue skin, greeted the human team. Welcome to Tartarus. You are the first humans to compete. Around them, alien competitors stared and whispered. A group of Drazek warriors, tall and covered in green scales, laughed openly at the humans. Such soft creatures, one said loudly. They will not last a day. Jack Williams smiled slightly but said nothing. The first challenge began at dawn. Each team would cross the desert zone, find water, and reach the checkpoint. Simple, except for the heat that could melt metal and predators engineered to hunt competitors. Remember your training, Frank told his team as they stood at the starting line. We pace ourselves. No heroics. When the signal came, the alien teams rushed forward. The Drazek moved like lightning despite their size. The insect-like Vespari burrowed instantly into the sand. The humans walked. What are they doing? Asked a council member watching from the control room. Security Chief XR Thal narrowed his eyes. Something unexpected. By midday, the temperature reached 140 degrees. The crystal beings had shattered in the heat. The liquid aliens had partly evaporated. Even the mighty Drazek sought shade, their reptilian bodies struggling to cool. But the humans kept walking. Sweat poured from their bodies, cooling them naturally. They drank small sips from their water supplies. Humans can regulate body temperature better than most species, Dr. Eliza Daniels explained to surprised council scientists. It's called sweating. Lisa Mendez spotted the signs of water that others missed, slight changes in the ground color, the presence of certain minerals. By sunset, the human team had found an underground spring while other competitors still searched. Impossible. The Vespari team leader chittered when they saw the humans resting by water. They have no special senses. How did they find it? The second day brought new challenges as engineered predators were released. Massive 8-legged hunters with acid saliva, flying creatures with sonic weapons, underground swimmers that could pull competitors beneath the sand. The Drazek fought these monsters directly, showing impressive strength. The Vespari used their numbers, sacrificing some to save others. The humans did something different. Look at them, Hectarthal said, pointing to the monitors. They're setting traps. Frank had found a narrow pass between rock formations. Jack set trip lines made from their gear. Lissa prepared natural toxins from desert plants. When the largest predator followed them into the pass, their trap sprung. The beast fell, tangled and poisoned, without the humans even touching it. They're using the environment as a weapon. Thal murmured. By the third day, half the competing teams had been eliminated. The desert challenge ended at sunset. The Drazek finished first, as expected. The Vespari second. The humans came in third. Impossible. The Drazek leader snarled when the humans walked calmly into the checkpoint, barely looking tired. In the viewer room, billions of humans watching from Earth erupted in cheers. No one had expected their team to survive the first round, let alone place in the top 3. Ambassador Zrell approached Frank as the team rested. You have surprised us, Major Carter. Frank took a sip of water. We're just getting started. Arathal watched from a distance, his concerns growing. Perhaps humans were more dangerous than anyone realized. The jungle phase of the tournament began 3 days later. Dense alien vegetation covered everything, trees taller than Earth skyscrapers blocking the light. Strange sounds echoed through the mist. The human team moved carefully through the undergrowth. Frank led. Lisa identified plants that could help or harm them, and Jack tracked the signs of other competitors and predators. Council scientists are asking to study you, Dr. Eliza Daniels told them through their communication devices. She remained at the base camp with observers from all species. Study us. Why? Lisa asked, examining a glowing fungus. They can't figure out how you survived the desert. The Drazek think you cheated. Frank smiled. We just walked. In the observation room, Dr. Daniels tried to explain to confused alien scientists. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can't run as fast as most animals, but we can run longer. That makes no sense, said a Vesperi scientist, its antenna twitching. Predators should be fast and strong. Humans don't need to be, Daniels replied. We just need to keep going until our prey is exhausted. Deep in the jungle, the tournament's second challenge began. Each team had to locate and catch one of the elusive shadow creatures, animals that could bend light around themselves to become nearly invisible. The Drazek used heat sensors in their eyes. The Vesperi released pheromones to confuse the creatures. Other species used their natural advantages. The humans used something else. What is he doing? Asked a council member, watching Jack Williams. Jack knelt on the ground, feeling the soil, looking at broken twigs and disturbed leaves. He wasn't tracking what he could see. He was tracking what had happened. They're reading the environment. Thal explained, looking for evidence of passage. For 2 days, the teams hunted. The Drazek caught their target first, using brute strength to corner it. 5 other species succeeded through various methods. The humans took longer, but their approach amazed the observers. Rather than chasing the shadow creature, they identified its territory and habits. They found where it drank water. Then they waited. They're not even trying to catch it, a Krith observer complained. Yes, they are, Xarthel said. Just not how you would. When the shadow creature came to drink, the humans were ready. Their trap was simple but perfect. The creature walked right into it, never seeing the danger until it was caught. By the end of the jungle phase, 7 teams remained in the competition. The humans were still among them. This is impossible, the Drazek leader growled during a meeting of competitors. These humans have no natural advantages. They are slow. Their senses are dull. They have no claws, no venom, no special abilities. They have their minds, said the leader of the liquid beings, their form rippling with emotion. And they work together perfectly. Dr. Daniels found herself surrounded by alien scientists asking endless questions. How do humans ignore pain? Asked a 4-armed medical expert. We saw the female step on a thorn vine and keep walking. Why don't they fight each other for dominance? Asked another. All predator species have hierarchy battles. Daniels tried to explain concepts like adrenaline, endorphins, and human cooperation, but the aliens struggled to understand. On Earth, the tournament had become the most watched event in history. Billions cheered as their team continued to defy expectations. Children played humans versus aliens in playgrounds. Adults debated human advantages in forums and bars. No one had expected humans to make it this far. In his private quarters, Arthur reviewed old records. He found mentions of a first contact mission to Earth thousands of years ago. The records were mostly deleted, but one phrase remained: approach with extreme caution. Species shows unusual predatory adaptability. The security chief looked at the current standings. Only the final challenge remained: direct competition between remaining teams. And somehow, impossibly, the humans were still in the running. We should have been more careful, he whispered to himself. Security Chief Xarthal called an emergency meeting as the tournament entered its final stage. Representatives from 7 species gathered in a secure room deep within the Tartarus Control Center. We have a problem, Xarthal said, displaying images of the human team. These humans have reached the finals. If they win, Earth will demand full council membership. Impossible, said the Drazek representative. They cannot defeat our warriors in direct combat. Don't underestimate them, Xarthel warned. I found records suggesting the Council encountered humans before, thousands of years ago. The records were deliberately erased. Silence filled the room as this news sank in. What do you propose? Asked the Vesperi leader, its insect-like mandibles clicking nervously. We must ensure they don't win, Xarthel said. Adjust the final challenge parameters. Make subtle changes to their equipment. Nothing obvious, but enough to guarantee their failure. The representatives voted. The motion passed. In their quarters, the human team prepared for the final challenge. Frank cleaned his gear meticulously. Lisa inventoried their supplies. Jack sharpened his hunting knife. Something's wrong with these new communication devices, Lisa said, examining the equipment delivered that morning. The battery drains too quickly. Frank nodded. The water purifiers are different too. Lower capacity. They're cheating, Jack said simply. Can we prove it? Lisa asked. Frank shook his head. No, and it doesn't matter. We've trained for equipment failure. We adapt. None of them noticed the tiny surveillance device hidden in their room. In the control center, Arthal heard every word. The humans knew, but they would proceed anyway. Their confidence disturbed him. Dr. Daniels, meanwhile, had formed an alliance with a young alien scientist named Cree. The small, green-skinned researcher had become fascinated with humans. Look at this, Cree said, showing Daniels ancient data files. I accessed restricted archives. The Council visited Earth during your Bronze Age. What happened? Daniels asked. The records are mostly gone, but there are warnings. Phrases like unexpected resistance and tactical innovation beyond technological level. Something went wrong. Daniels frowned. They encountered humans, and it didn't go well. The Council has been watching your planet ever since. Cree confirmed. Your people weren't supposed to reach space for another century. First contact was rushed when you developed faster than expected. On the tournament field, the final challenges were announced. 7 teams would face direct competition in extreme environments, ending with one-on-one combat between team leaders. As Frank led his team to the starting position, he noticed subtle changes to the course layout. Areas where humans might have advantages had been altered. They changed the rules. He told his team quietly, so we change our approach. The first event began in the frozen zone. Competitors had to cross a glacier field filled with hidden crevices and ice predators. The Drazek moved confidently, their tough skin resistant to cold. The Vesperi huddled together for warmth. Other species used their natural advantages. The humans moved slowly, testing each step. When their defective equipment failed, they improvised. Frank created new tools from parts of their broken gear. Lisa found ways to navigate using landmarks instead of the sabotage compass. Jack identified safe paths by reading subtle signs in the ice. In the control room, Tarthal watched with growing unease. They should be failing. They're adapting, said an observer, faster than we can create obstacles. By the end of the ice challenge, 3 teams had been eliminated due to injuries or failures. The humans remained, having finished second despite their sabotaged equipment. As they rested before the next stage, Frank looked at his team with pride. They're afraid of us now. Good, Jack said. They should be. In the council chambers, the emergency committee met again. Their plan was failing. The humans were still advancing. We need more drastic measures, Xarthal urged. But even he didn't fully understand what humans were capable of when cornered. The volcanic zone of Tartarus glowed red under a gray sky. Rivers of lava cut through black rock fields. Toxic gas vented from cracks in the ground. Heat distorted the air. Only 4 teams remained in the tournament. The Drazek, the Vesperi, the liquid beings called Mori, and the humans. The final challenge would determine the galaxy's apex predator. Welcome to the Crucible, announced the chief council judge, a tall being with metallic skin. This is the sacred home territory of the Drazek. Here, you will face each other directly. Frank exchanged looks with his team. The location clearly favored the reptilian Drazek, who thrived in heat. Each team will cross the lava fields to the central peak, the judge continued. There, team leaders will engage in ritual combat. No advanced technology permitted. The Drazek leader, Scar, stepped forward. Nearly 8 feet tall with armored green scales and yellowed claws, he looked down at Frank. Your journey ends here, human, Scar hissed. In my domain, your tricks mean nothing. Frank met his gaze steadily. We'll see. As the teams prepared, Dr. Daniels rushed to their staging area with Kree. They've rigged everything against you, Daniels said quickly. The volcanic zone temperature is set higher than regulations allow. The path assigned to your team crosses more lava flows than the others. We suspected as much, Lisa replied, checking their limited supplies. There's more, Kree added nervously. The Drazek have been allowed to access the zone's control systems. They can trigger eruptions at will. Jack tested the edge of his hunting knife, so they can change the battlefield during the challenge. Yes, Kree confirmed. It's completely against the rules, but the Council is looking the other way. Frank considered this information. Thank you for telling us. Now we can plan accordingly. You're still going to compete? Daniels asked in disbelief. Frank smiled slightly. Running from a challenge isn't the human way. The final challenge began at dawn. Each team started from different points around the volcanic zone, all heading toward the central peak where the culminating battles would take place. The humans faced their first obstacle immediately. Their path forward was blocked by a wide lava river with no visible crossing. This wasn't on the maps, Lisa said, scanning the molten flow. They changed it. Frank studied the area. We adapt. Using metal parts from their gear, they created heat-resistant stepping stones. Jack went first, testing each placement carefully. The team crossed slowly but safely. In the control center, Arthel watched with the council members. Impressive problem-solving, admitted an elder counselor. Arthel frowned. Wait until they face the Drazek's traps. Those traps came soon enough. As the humans navigated a narrow ridge, the ground began to shake. Vents opened along the path, spewing superheated gas. They're triggering an eruption. Lisa shouted over the rumbling. Instead of retreating, the humans moved faster, racing ahead of the rising danger. When rocks began falling, they used them as cover from the heat. When a chasm opened, they found a way to swing across using their gear as makeshift ropes. Hour after hour, the Drazek threw obstacles at the human team. Hour after hour, the humans found ways to overcome them. In the council viewing chamber, billions across the galaxy watched in amazement. They should have failed 10 times already, a Vesperi observer chittered. They're not just surviving, Kree noted with excitement. They're learning the Drazek patterns. See how they anticipate the next trap. By sunset, against all odds, 3 teams had reached the central peak. The Vesperi had fallen, eliminated when their team leader was caught in a gas vent. The Mori, the Drazek, and somehow, the humans remained. As Frank stood at the final staging area, breathing heavily but standing tall, Scar approached him. For the final combat, the Drazek leader said, I challenge you to fight without weapons or tools, just as nature made us. Frank knew this was the ultimate trap. In raw physical combat, a Drazek warrior could easily kill a human. He smiled. Challenge accepted. Behind him, Lisa and Jack exchanged worried glances. They had come so far. But how could any human defeat a Drazek in hand-to-hand combat? The central peak of the volcanic zone glowed red in the fading light. A flat circular area had been prepared for the final combat. Around it, council members and remaining competitors gathered to watch. Frank stood at one edge of the circle, removing his equipment. No weapons, no tools, as Scar had demanded. Across from him, The massive Drazek leader stretched his scaled limbs, sharp claws catching the light. "This is suicide," Lisa whispered to Frank. "He's twice your size with natural weapons." "I don't need to win by his rules," Frank replied quietly. "I just need to survive long enough." The council judge stepped forward. "The final combat will determine this century's apex predator species. Each leader represents their evolutionary path. Fight with honor until one yields or can no longer continue." Scar entered the circle, his reptilian eyes fixed on Frank. The human walked forward calmly. "Begin," the judge called. Scar charged immediately, claws extended. Frank dodged aside, narrowly avoiding the attack. The Drazek was fast despite his size, spinning around for another lunge. This time, his claws caught Frank's arm, drawing blood. In the viewing chamber, Xarthal watched tensely. "The human will be killed." "Perhaps that was your intention all along," Dr. Daniels said coldly from behind him. The combat continued. Frank kept moving, using the entire circle. He didn't try to attack, focusing only on survival. Scar grew frustrated, his attacks becoming more aggressive but less controlled. "Stand and fight," the Drazek roared after several minutes of chasing the human. "I am fighting," Frank replied, breathing hard but still moving. "Just not how you fight." Billions watched across the galaxy. On Earth, people held their breath as their representative faced what seemed like certain defeat. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Frank was bleeding from several wounds, but Scar was breathing heavily, his movements slowing. "What's happening?" a council member asked. "Endurance hunting," Kree explained excitedly. "The human is making the Drazek exhaust himself." Scar's attacks came less frequently now. The volcanic heat that favored him originally was now working against him. His cold-blooded system was overheating from extended exertion. Frank saw his opportunity. When Scar lunged again, instead of dodging away, Frank stepped into the attack. He took a painful slash across his chest, but managed to get behind the Drazek. In one quick move, he'd wrapped his arm around Scar's throat. The Drazek struggled, but Frank held on, using his entire body weight. Slowly, Scar's struggles weakened as his oxygen-deprived brain began to shut down. "Yield," Frank gasped, his own strength nearly gone. With the last of his consciousness, Scar tapped the ground 3 times, the universal signal of surrender. The arena fell silent. Then an eruption of sound as billions across the galaxy reacted to what they had just witnessed. A human had defeated the 7-time champion, Drazek, in hand-to-hand combat. Frank released Scar and collapsed to his knees, exhausted and wounded but victorious. 8 years later, in 2073, Frank Carter stood in the Grand Council chamber. Now Earth's ambassador, he watched as the formal ceremony began. "Today we recognize humanity as the galaxy's apex predators," announced the council leader. "Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and privileges." Darthal, older but still security chief, approached Frank after the ceremony. "I opposed you," he admitted. "I fear what humans might become with access to advanced technology." Frank nodded. "That's why we're perfect for this role. We understand restraint." "What do you mean?" "We could have demanded revenge for your interference in the tournament. We could have exposed the Council's previous visit to Earth. We didn't." Darthal considered this. "Why not?" "Because true apex predators know when not to attack," Frank explained. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't that we can kill effectively. It's that we choose not to when there's a better way." As Frank looked out at the stars visible through the chamber's great window, he thought about Earth's new place in the galaxy. Humans had proven themselves the deadliest predators not because of physical strength or natural weapons, but because of something uniquely human: the ability to adapt, to persist, and most importantly, to choose. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.